I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, December the 9th, brought to you in part by Zactran. Treat your calves with one cost-effective dose of Zactran for treatment and control of bovine respiratory disease. Remember to observe your 35-day withdrawal period after treatment. For more information, go to Zactran.com or visit with your BI representative. $2 lower on a Tuesday. That's frustrating. And you guys have heard me say several times there's only one reason that packers are coming out on a Monday or Tuesday bidding on cattle. It's because they need them. But if you talk to one of them, they'll convince you that they don't need them as they're buying them from you. But I was getting texts fairly early on Tuesday morning talking about 108 bids and things like that. Well, normally, somebody wouldn't even text that on. It would just be well, yeah, sure, they're bidding lower and everybody's asking higher, and that's kind of the way the week starts out. But I tell you what, everybody is pretty convinced that that this deal's going south, and I told you guys on the last visit that it could get ugly here between now and just after the first of the year, and it appears that everybody else is thinking that too, because guys caved in to the lower bids on a Tuesday afternoon, both north and south, but predominantly in the south. And you usually see them wait and kind of see what the guys in the north do, or see how things are going before they cave in. But pretty much already done that, and your board was a little bit off there, but not bad, and really not much going on with the board. Not a lot of trade activity and not a lot of volume, but the guys were pretty much able to hold things together. They're not gaining any basis really, but not losing any ground on their hedges there. So went ahead and let them go at 108, I guess for fear that perhaps the board could be down worse later in the week, and they may not even be able to get that. But let's talk about the board. On Tuesday, December live cattle futures down 15 cents at 107.85. February down a quarter at 110.77. You're going out from there, down 22 cents to up 17 cents. So just not a whole lot going on in your live cattle pits. January feeder cattle down 22 cents at 137.57. March up 35 cents at 138.50. You're going out from there, up a quarter to up 72 cents. So some support on your further out feeder cattle, and your grains were just a pinch easier, but not a whole lot going on there as we get to this week, which it almost seems like a short week the way everybody's trying to get the business done. But it's one of our busiest weeks, if not the busiest week of the year, as far as feeder cattle sales. Big runs everywhere. We mentioned on our last visit, Oklahoma City had 18,000 head. I mean, that is huge. But marketing a lot of cattle, but likely a lot of these feedlot sellers were planning on going to the National Finals Rodeo later in the week. I'm out here right now, just kind of hanging out. I had a sale at the beginning, or last weekend, got a sale this weekend, and I thought, shoot, might as well just hang out around here, seeing several people that I know. But I have to say, this rodeo is more spread out. It's not as much fun as in Vegas. Went to the rodeo on Sunday night, went to the performance, not as exciting, but I would say that the social distancing is probably as much responsible for that as having it in this huge venue. It's not as big as the Jerry's World where they have the American, but still, it's a monster compared to the Thomas and Mack Arena, and you feel a little bit disengaged with what's going on, I tell you what. Still a lot of fun, as much fun as you can have with your boots on and the COVID on as well, I guess, I want to say it that way. But your fat cattle trade, I mentioned, we don't normally even have any trade to talk about on a Tuesday, and we've already established the market, and it's $2 lower. So we did have some 109 sales late last week, but the bulkier sales were at 110 last week, 111 the week before, but $2 lower. We had about 1,700 head confirmed in Iowa on Tuesday, and likely a lot more of those after they turned those in. But 168 to 170, and that's $2 lower also on a dress basis. Nebraska only about 500 head, 168 to 170. Kansas sold a lot of cattle, 7,600 head, 108 and a few 170 dress sales there for Kansas also, and even Texas threw in with 3,300 head, $108 there, and so that's your market is 108. Your live market in the Southern Plains, once it's established, is your market, and that's a fat cattle market, and it seems like just the other day we were many dollars higher than that. But box beef cutout values continue to tumble, and that's probably the main reason that your feedlot sellers went ahead and sold out, because your packers are not going to be very excited after they've took 2 sharp down days on your box beef cutout value market. That's the wholesale price, the price that they get for their product, and they're down so much sharply. And I mentioned there several visits ago that your packers don't seem to worry whenever your feedlots feed costs all of a sudden go up, or you have a storm and then their cattle are pulling mud and all that kind of thing. They still try to buy them cheaper. But for some reason or another, your cattle sellers start to have sympathy for your packers when your beef market's lower, and I can't understand why that is. But choice cuts on Tuesday afternoon, 225.02 down 578. Wow. And it was down big on Monday. Selects 205.42 down 406, and a pretty good movement though, so that's kind of a good sign. They did sell quite a bit at the lower levels, 228 loads just on Tuesday, and that's pretty good movement there. Your slaughter, they backed off on that, and I don't know if they had a cooler cleaning or a abbreviated schedule or what, but as they're abbreviating this week, I guarantee you they're going to be lighter, and they've been saying all along they were going to be lighter during the Christmas holiday, and they're kind of saying that a lot of their workers that stayed with them kept humping through the COVID year and everything. They're going to give them a little more time off as kind of a bonus there towards the end of the year, and if that indeed happens, I'll believe it when I see it. But slaughter 234,000, down 7,000 from a week ago, down 11,000 from the same week a year ago. What else is going on? Talked to Jake Billington, my friend there at Twin Falls Livestock Commission, Twin Falls, Idaho, said they've got about 4,000 head. Tell you what, those sales out there in that part of the country, they don't get that many cattle on a regular basis, guy, but 4,000 head of cattle at Twin Falls. He said a lot of big reputation consignments, so get an order in there to Twin Falls if you want some of those kind of high desert mountain kind of cattle out there, and they would be really good ones. Fredonia, Kansas had a pretty good sale on Tuesday. Also had an in-house video there, and Sean Scott had some cattle in there from Sedan, Kansas, 90 days weaned, all black home-raised steers there. 178 head of them, weighed 650 for immediate delivery at 160 and a quarter. Let's talk about your other feeder cattle markets and your in-house sales, in your brick and mortar type sales. Real-time index on DV auction in the afternoon on Tuesday at 136.62. That was down 23 cents from being down about 70 on Monday. So down close to $1 already for your index average based on 800-pound steers. But Ozarks Regional Stockyards, West Plains, Missouri, about 3,600 head there. Talked to Dan Hill. He said the market a little bit uneven, from $3 lower to $3 higher, but overall still moving the cattle through there pretty good. They also had over 1,000 head at their in-house video that they feature there with help from DV Auction, and we take the online bids through that console, and they've been getting along really good. Only the last several months here they had their in-house video at Ozarks Regional, and man, it is working for them. They're getting a lot of cattle marketed that way, with guys not having to move them off the farm till after they're sold. Beaver County Stockyards, Beaver, Oklahoma. I looked at their market there on the automated feed on Cattle Market Central. It looked like they had a typical type sale around 1,500 or so. Calves $2 to $5 higher. Bigger yearling type feeders $1 to $2 lower. That's been the trend here for the last week or 10 days. Another market had a stick out sale. Atkinson, Nebraska, Atkinson Livestock Market there, the old reliable. They had one of your top quotes for the day at 87 head of 604-pound steer calves at 170. That's a heck of a good quote. Unionville Livestock Market, North Central Missouri. Kurt and Heather Sport Leader, they had a heck of a good sale there at Unionville, Missouri, including these 4 loads that I pulled out of Cattle Market Central. These cattle come from the Rock and R Farms there at Lucerne, Missouri, that I've mentioned several times over the last few years. They are market toppers and evidently must feed really well because the buyers just go after them every time. But 4 loads of these steers, 840 weight cattle, just either side right in there close. 3 loads of them bring 140 and a half, and then 1 load had a few colored cattle on there at 140. I bet those colored cattle were cheaper than those all black cattle when they bought them, so probably made more money on those cattle than they did any of them. But top quote that I saw on Tuesday in your Zach Tran top quote from the day come out of Kimball Livestock Exchange, Kimball, South Dakota. 130 head, 922 pound feeder steers at $145. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.